Hello, my name is Tracy Allen and I want to welcome you to Cooking with Some Friends. Hello everyone and welcome to Cooking with Some Friends. In honor of St. Patrick's Day coming up, I am doing a couple of Irish and British Isle recipes and I've done some Scotch eggs, but I'm going to show you a recipe for some twice baked Colcannon potatoes. Now when I taught, I always had my kids, when we would do the British Isles, I would have them make Colcannon potatoes, but we love twice baked potatoes, so this is just a little twist on that. So I've already gone ahead, I took, I'm reducing my recipe, but I took 2 large baking potatoes, so I'm cutting it in half, and I put olive oil on those and salted those and poked those and put some foil in the bottom of the oven, and then I baked those at 400 degrees for about 50 minutes. So those are ready. But in my pan then, excuse me, I've got some cabbage that I've chopped up fine and some green onion, some butter, and some salt. And I'm going to melt that butter down and let that cook until that cabbage wilts and is kind of browned. And that'll take 5 or 6 minutes. So I'm just gonna let that go ahead and cook until it's wilted and browned up, and then I'll come back and show you what I'm gonna put in it. The cabbage is looking good. It's a little bit browned and it's wilted, so now I'm ready to go on to the next step. And so I have to add pepper to this. And that's about a ½ teaspoon. It's totally up to you how much pepper you like. I'm gonna add a little bit of dry mustard. And again, just a tiny bit. Don't want to overdo. The recipe calls for a teaspoon. And then I have about a ½ cup of milk that I'm going to go ahead and put in there as well. Now I want this to cook and reduce some. I'm going to let this cook. I'm going to cover it, reduce the heat, and let this cook. And it'll take about 20 minutes for it to cook down to the place that I want it. So I'm gonna cover it, I'll turn my heat down, and I'll let this cook. Our cabbage mixture is done cooking, and I went ahead and left the lid on it and took it off the heat. But then I took my 2 potatoes that we baked, and I hollowed those out and put the shells back in the oven until I'm ready for them. But in my bowl, I have the insides of those potatoes and a couple of tablespoons of butter, and I'm gonna mix that together. And then I want to add that mixture that we cooked. And I do have the milk out if we need a little more liquid. Or you could even do sour cream like you would a twice baked potato. And I think our consistency is pretty good like it is without adding any more milk, but I do want to add some cheddar cheese to this. And I have some bacon that I can add. So we're finishing off those potatoes, so I want to refill those shells. Took those out of the oven. I'm gonna put my filling back in to each one. Fill the whole cavity. And then ahead of time, I did take some pats of butter and put those in the freezer. So I'm going to go ahead and put those on top, at least one of those in the center. And I'm going to put these back in the oven until they brown up, and you can put more cheese on top if you want to. And I have some bacon that can go over the top that we cooked up. So I'll show you when they come out browned from the oven. Our twice baked Colcannon potatoes. Hello and welcome to Cooking with Some Friends. I am getting ready to make some Scotch eggs, and kind of in honor of the whole St. Patrick's Day thing, although this is Scotch, not Irish, but the British Isles, all that. But we went to supper last night and had quite a conversation about Scotch eggs. And if you've never had a Scotch eggs, they have no Scotch in them, which was the misnomer that somebody had, and it was just kind of funny. But anyway, we're making some Scotch eggs. So I have hard cooked some eggs and peeled those. And in my bowl, I have some breakfast sausage that I've added just a tiny bit of mustard, because somebody in our house doesn't like mustard.
Me.
Yeah, my husband doesn't like mustard. And then you're going to add some onion, garlic, and a little bit of nutmeg, some parsley if you want it. And really, some of these are just to taste. And you can add real onion and real garlic, or you can just use garlic powder and onion powder. But you're going to do similarly as you would like if you were making meatloaf. You just want to work those spices into your sausage. So the mustard is well dispersed. And I have a small pan of vegetable oil heating to 350, because we will deep fry these when they're ready to go. Okay, so then I want to take this and I want to make patties out of it, and I'm going to go ahead and divide it evenly. So, and this, if you use the whole recipe, it'll make 6 to 8 eggs. But if you don't need that many, you can always cut the recipe down. And so that's what I've done. I'm cutting it in half. So anyway, I want to make a patty out of each one of these, and then I'm going to use that in a minute with my eggs. First, I'm going to go ahead and wash my hands, and I'll show you the next part. Okay, for the next part, you're going to take some breadcrumbs, plain breadcrumbs, and add salt and pepper. And for my half, it'll be about a half a cup of those. I have some flour with a little bit of salt and pepper, and again, the half cup. And then I've taken 1 egg and beaten it up. If you are making the whole recipe, it would be 2 eggs. So anyway, so I'm going to then take my egg and wrap it in my sausage. And you don't want the sausage on there too thick, but you do want to make sure it's sealed well around the egg, because any air holes will allow the oil to get in. Okay, so then I'm going to roll this into my flour mixture. Then my egg mixture. And then my breadcrumb mixture. And I'm going to repeat that for all 3, and then I'm going to deep fry those until they're golden brown. So I'll show you in a second what they're going to look like. Okay, one of the things when you're doing this that you want to make sure when you roll this in the breadcrumb mixture is that you may have to actually pat the breadcrumbs in, because you really want them to stick without flattening out your Scotch egg. Okay. You really want that coating. So we have this one frying. Wash my hands again. And you'll have to turn it partway through once it gets that golden brown color that you're after, so that the other side cooks. Unless you have a big enough pan that it's totally immersed. But that's all there is to Scotch eggs. Thanks for joining us for this session of Cooking with Some Friends. Make sure you like this video and subscribe to our YouTube channel. And find us on Facebook at Cooking with Some Friends.